Hey, what's happening? It's Bill Smith, and there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening in the last week or so about censorship. Okay? The word of the day is censorship. I have been subject of this myself. I've had 4 strikes in the past for no reasons. I mean, just no reason. 2 were for talking about the Parkland shooting, okay, in which I accepted the mainstream narrative. 1 was for a complaint from Unirock, I think. Although I may have doxed somebody. I may have doxed 0 Hour 1 on accident based on an archived Twitter feed. So maybe that one was legit. Maybe Unirock didn't complain, so I don't want to blame him for that one. The fourth strike I got though was that Dan Harmon video. And I think that one got me immediately banned. Now, I didn't know this about the Dan Harmon video. I'm not even going to show it. You can go look. If you go look at the uncensored version of the Dan Harmon video, which I have not seen, the rumor is that he actually pulled his penis out, inserted it into the naked baby doll, and humped it, and until he acted like he achieved orgasm. So the video that got me banned, what he actually did is way worse, if that's true. And I haven't verified it, but I also saw the blurred out version. I'm like, okay, that's not too far away. If you would have told me that without him pulling down his pants, without me seeing that, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But I'm pretty sure Dan Harmon actually raped that baby doll. Physically, That's the story. I'm not going to go watch the video, but I will pass along that rumor. It is a rumor. I haven't verified it. Dan Harmon's a sick individual, though. Gab posted this today, and I thought this was good enough to cover because Alex Jones, nobody has a clue what's happening with Alex Jones. Is he getting deplatformed so that the mainstream disinfo people can regain control of the conversation? Because he's out of QAnon. He can't talk about QAnon ever again. Neither can anybody affiliated with InfoWars. Now you got Jordan Sather going on Comedy Central, and I support Jordan. Like, I've never really talked to him, but we're friends on Twitter. I think he's a good representative of what we're doing here. He's well spoken. He seems easy to connect to, so I support him and his channel. But he made the mistake of not pulling his cell phone out of his pocket and putting it up on a ledge across the room and filming what happened. And that's just a bad move. It's just a bad move. So now there's a question about Jordan, which I don't think it's important, but I think Jordan could have alleviated that question early by just taking out a cell phone and filming it from across the room. I have a little cell phone tripod I take with me sometimes. It fits in your pocket. Just saying. So I don't know. I don't know who's real. I have my theories. I have my suspicions. It seems weird that Alex Jones now doesn't have to compete with anybody's videos next to his. I find that odd. I also think it's weird that Apple would kick him off of iTunes, his podcast, and then the same week, right, as soon as Apple made a move, Facebook made their move, and SoundCloud, and everybody else made their move right after Apple did that. But then Apple allows him to keep his app, which has the same content on it. So explain to me, that doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, and then Alex got a huge boost. He said he got like 4 million. Now his app is trending in the store. Why would you rip down all of his content but let him keep his app? Because they just pulled the QAnon app, the QAnon.pub app with the alerts. Apple pulled that so you can't see the QAnon app and get the alerts when the posts come out. But you're still cool to go see Alex Jones, even though they pulled all his content off iTunes. That does not make any sense, okay? And especially when Alex Jones comes out on top, that does not make any sense to me either. But then I saw this. This was from Gab today. It says, real Alex Jones got banned from almost everywhere. Gab, of course, welcomes him. Gab would love to have him. The next day, though, Gab's CEO house almost burned down to the ground. The day after that, Microsoft threatened to shut down Gab's hosting based on 2 posts that were user generated. And it said a day after that, YouTube removed Alex Jones' interview of the Gab CEO. Is that a coincidence? I would say no. It's an electrical fire. I mean, that's insane. You know? Like, anybody who's had a house, like, that's rare. That does not happen. So they almost had a fire. Could have been staged, could have been anything. I don't know. I haven't verified it. I'm just saying this is what I read. It does seem weird. And I've confirmed the stuff about the Azure hosting. So, listen, this isn't Facebook saying, "Hey, you can't have a post on our platform." This is Gab hosting a Gab site like another Twitter, and then their hosting provider, another multi-monolithic giant corporation, saying, "We won't host you. You can't even have your site anymore if you will let them do this." So it's like bullying one level removed. And this is what people are missing in the censorship stuff. It's like when they say deplatformed, everybody's going, "Oh my God, Alex Jones can't have a Facebook page. Alex Jones can't have YouTube videos." Last year we had Charlottesville, and now we're having Charlottesville 2.0. And I have mentioned this multiple times, but there is a guy who owns a site called the Daily Stormer. And I think it's a parody. I don't think he's really a Nazi. I think that he's trying to shift that Overton window. Okay? I think he made a parody Nazi account to do that. And they got rid of, they not only deplatformed that guy, they also took away his website, his hosting, and then GoDaddy stole his domain. Okay, so this is the guy. I've never shown this before on the website, but I think you should know about this. The site's called the Daily Stormer. I've seen it before. It was actually linked from the Drudge Report, if you believe it or not, a couple times. That's how I found it. And it wasn't very much longer after that it got taken down. And it got taken down because this guy, Andrew Anglin, said Heather Heyer died of a heart attack. That's what he said. And they said that's hate speech. Okay, this guy is on his site saying we need to gas the Jews and stuff. Like, he's saying this stuff, right? And I think he's kind of being a troll here. I don't really think he's serious because he spent, in 2008, this was just 10 years ago. He was living over in the Philippines, and he sold a bunch of his possessions to raise money for a dowry to marry 2 Muslim women. So, like, I don't see this guy as a staunch racist. This guy grew up as a liberal, staunch liberal, and then he went and lived in among another culture thinking this is what's cool because liberals like to do that. And then he got over there and he's like, "No, this sucks. This sucks really bad." And he saw a bunch of stuff he didn't like. So now you get modern day Andrew Anglin. You know? This is a guy who was a liberal, then went out into the world being a liberal and came back, quote unquote neo-Nazi. So I find this stuff to be fascinating. I've read his story. He was a dreadlocked vegan. The guy was a vegan. A dreadlocked vegan. And now he's a skinhead. That's insane. Okay, but long story short, they took this guy's domain. Okay, so we're complaining about Gab hosting at this point. You know, Azure, Microsoft said, if you're going to allow people to say things on your platform that are legal, you understand? Because that's the whole thing. People go, "Oh, well, private companies, they're public companies, but they're not government owned, so they can do whatever they want." No, you buy stock in them. It's a public company. It's not private. It may be in the private sector, meaning not government, but it's a public company. And there's going to be shareholders who say, "I don't want that content deleted." Right? Where's their voice? They own the company. No one ever talks about that. So this is how far it gets. I mean, it gets this far where now they can just steal everything. So this is it. Site hosting issues after the 2017 Unite the Right rally. This was last year at Charlottesville 1.0. This was just a year ago. The website was informed by its domain registrar, GoDaddy, that it had violated the terms of service by mocking Heather Heyer. And Anglin was given 24 hours to locate to a new registrar. The next day it moved to Google, which almost immediately canceled its registration for violation of terms. also terminating the website's YouTube account. The following day, the website registered with 2 cows, who canceled it hours later for regularly inciting violence. On August 15th, it was announced by Weave that the site had moved to the dark web. It was now only accessible by Tor. I think now they have a new website called dailystormer.name, I think. But essentially, they can't even have their dailystormer.com. That's insane. And you can't say mean things about people on the internet now. That's essentially what they said. They stole this guy's domain. So he's not even allowed to be on the internet. Do you understand that? And he has not broken any laws. He hasn't broken any laws, but all these companies, all these domain registrars got together and they said, don't let this guy be on the internet. Okay, so when you live in a monopolized internet sphere where Facebook owns all of, that type of social media, then you got Twitter, and then you got YouTube, and then there's no other major players, and people go, oh, we'll just start another Gab. And then we go start another Gab, and Microsoft says, no, you can't start another Gab. You can't start another Facebook. You can't start another Twitter. Even if you do, you're still going to have to play by our rules because we own the infrastructure and you can't use it. Even if you're not breaking laws, we don't like what you're saying. All right, so that's the state of the world. And until we get some sort of internet rights, I don't know how we're ever going to get out of this. It just doesn't make any sense. I'll remind you, people in our truth community, and I hate to say this out loud again, but people in our truth community, okay, the people who are getting deplatformed, videos removed, people getting just bounced off of social media. We have people in our own community, like Tracy Beans, who say, I won't support an Internet Bill of Rights. I don't believe in the government protecting your free speech. Those are private companies. They can do whatever they want. That's Tracy Beans' version of reality. She's like, oh, well, you free market. All the liberal talking points you've heard from Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, because they've got it figured out. They know that they can circumvent U.S. law and U.S. constitutional protections by saying, we're a private company, you violated our terms of service, we don't like what you're saying, you out of here. Tracy Beans. Okay, which brings me here. We've been talking about satanic ritual abuse survivors. I have not talked to this woman before. Her name's Fiona Barnett, but she's got a website called FionaBarnett.org. These videos were banned from YouTube, and it's from a guy named Vegan Mikey Whalen. He's a musician, soundboard guy in Portland, and he has specific information, direct witness testimony about his ties with Voodoo Doughnuts. And he's been gang stalked, and he had his dog killed, and his house was burglarized, and people made threats about his kids. At least that's what he says. And I believe him. So if you want to see banned videos, it's only a matter of time before Fiona Barnett might be subjected to the same treatment that the Daily Stormer and Andrew Anglin was subjected to. They're not breaking the law, but they're saying something that companies, media companies, YouTube, Microsoft, those are the modern media companies now. They don't want you talking about it. They say, no, you can't interview somebody, right? You can't let somebody give their witness testimony. Too many people might see it. It might cause problems. Well, I don't know if you've seen pictures of Voodoo Doughnuts, but they don't exactly have the cleanest, squeakiest image, you know what I'm saying? So if you don't want to attract that sort of attention to yourself, I don't know why you would make satanic donuts. If you don't want that kind of attention, you don't want people talking about it, why would you make satanic donuts? I'll leave you here. Okay, this is from the Times of Israel. So the Syrian rebel commander said that he collaborated with Israel. They gave him anti-tank weapons in return for protecting the border. Right? Israel has never admitted to arming moderate Syrian rebels. They're also trying to sell parts of Syria, they're trying to trade the Golan Heights for military support. Until next time, it's Bill Smith. Thanks for watching.